I did the math afterwards. I've run over 500 miles on the Creeper Trail.
Oh.
And I love that area. And I'm very emotional, sorry, y'all, because it was an emotional day. And I cry at Hallmark commercials, so don't think this is anything special.
You cry. This is your platform. You do what you got to do. The Creeper Trail is a special place.
1, 2, 3, 4.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 129 of the On the Runs podcast. It's a special bonus episode this week because Erica just was out with her Yeti friends for what we're calling the Yeti, and we're going to hear all about what happened, what went wrong, about a road trip, showing up to a race late. Apparently, snakes smell like a vegetable or a cucumber. I don't know. We're going to learn a lot. And I can't wait to hear it. But first, let me say hello to my kick-ass co-host, 6-star Erica. What's up?
What is up, everybody? Oh, I'm so happy to not only have Eric here, but to have 4 of my awesome Yeti friends here. Welcome to the podcast, you guys. I'm just going to go round table and introduce everybody. To my right, I've got Pat Early. Then we got Julia, Brian, and Charlotte. Oh, we're so happy to have you guys here today.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Hey. So I'm going to go because I got a few things to do, but I wanted to say hi to everyone. But I'm going to give Erica a little podcasting advice as you're the host now for the second time ever, because there's a lot of people in this room right now. I don't think we've ever had this many people in the room. So
no,
just don't forget to say, hey, Pat, tell me this story. Or, hey, Julia, do a lot of names, guys. When you want to ask a question or something, throw some names in there. That's just my advice. But have a lot of fun. I can't wait to edit. I might jump in a little bit, but this is kind of an odd time for recording, and I'm making sure everything was running smoothly. I can't wait to hear about this. And I want to say one thing, Charlotte. I'm not mad, but I'm a little disappointed you're not in costume.
Show's early.
I'm sure there's still time to break out the Brumbolo, the potty there.
You guys
does she have it?
Well, you guys have fun.
I actually have. I am surrounded by boxes of costumes right now that I'm working on, so I can whip something out real quick.
Nice. Well, you guys have fun.
No
have a lot of fun. I can't wait to hear this. I can't wait to edit it and drop it in a couple of days. So it was really nice to meet you, Pat, Brian, Julia, and Charlotte. Erica, good luck.
I'm going to need it, I'm sure. But that's why I have my friends here. So.
All right. Later, guys. Have fun. Enjoy the episode, everybody.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you guys decided to join, or that you could join me, because this whole weekend, it was 5 days. It was just so much to wrap my head around that I needed some help. So thank you for coming on, for helping me kind of not disinfect. What the hell? See, words are hard right now. I don't even know what word.
Maybe like decompress.
That's it. Trying to figure out what the fuck happened. So thank you guys for being here. So the way I kind of wanted to structure this was just like literally breaking it down step by step, but getting into it first. Like, how did we even get to this point? Like, whose idea was it to say, hey, we're going to get this house and all hang out and have this wonderful Yeti experience? So who can we blame for this one?
Charlotte gets that credit for the house.
I'm usually the enabler.
Excellent.
Well, but I can't say that I brought everybody together, though, because it happened to be the meeting last year at Yeti is where we met you. So that was kind of the first step, was let's meet a fun chick and see if she wants to hang out with us next year.
And I'm so glad I got to meet you. So my first Yeti friend was actually another Pat. But he's not here today, which we're missing you, Pat. I hope you're listening.
Does that mean I'm Pat 1 now? Did I get upgraded?
Yeah, you've been promoted. He's been promoted. So you're Pat, not Patrick today. So we'll go for that.
Cool.
You were always kind of Pat number one, but we kind of had to, not make that obvious.
Shh, we're not supposed to say that. No,
Edit that out. Edit that out.
Yeah.
so last year, Pat Hartzell was my first Yeti friend that I made. He keeps saying like, "Oh, I went and I was just checking out the trail and I saw some people trying to take pictures and he offered to take my picture." And I mean that is true. And we just got to talking and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll see you at the packet pickup." And that was when he introduced me to many of you, or actually, I think it was just Charlotte and Julie. But I didn't get to meet Pat and Brian until this year, but still happy it happened. So how did you guys all meet each other? Why don't we go into that?
I'll start, I guess. So
Mhm.
I had known the other Pat, who's not here, from running and racing, and Julia too, as well, for many, many years. But for a while, I lived in Charleston, and so that's where I met Brian. So I'm kind of one known to talk people into doing crazy things. So I think Brian will confess that
That's right.
I was, one who just kind of like, hey, come do this ultra, come do this race. And so we had done a lot of hundreds together. And I think it was after the Charleston 100 last year in December, I stayed at Brian's house. And so the next morning, I'm like, all right, Brian, buckle up. It's time to go to a big boy 100 miler. So I said, Yeti registration opens up January 1st. I said, you got to be online that day. Look into it. I said, registration will sell out quickly.
Yep.
And I actually forgot to call and remind him, but all of a sudden the phone started buzzing that morning as we were all chatting back and forth of, I'm in. Are you in? I'm in. So I've connected that side of the circle. I'll let Julia talk about the other side.
Yeah, meeting at races. Charlotte and I are in a couple different clubs together, and I don't remember the first time that I technically met Charlotte, but everyone knows who Charlotte is because you see the costumes. And
Oh yes,
Brian,
marathon costume
yes,
chick
definitely.
right here.
Brian, it was fun to get to know through the messages, our chat that we had as we prepared and made logistics and arrangements and helped encourage each other to train for Yeti. So that was fun to get to know Brian, but it was even more fun to get to know him in person because, man, great guy. How fun, how cool. And then Pat Early, I've known all my life. No, I have known all his life because we are cousins and I am a little bit older than him. So I've known him the longest.
Seriously, for all of you guys, I asked, I'm like, how old are all you guys? And you're like, oh, 40 something. I'm like, no shit, you're not. Like, none of you guys look your age. So
Hey, I'm
whatever you're doing, keep it up.
56. I'm proud to
You
admit
don't look
I'm
that
pushing
at all,
60.
Charlotte.
Yeah.
You're good. Just keep doing the running. It's keeping you young.
Mhm.
So I have to make this connection too. So Julia and Pat, your cousins, but Pat kind of has a connection to the
That's right.
podcast through Wes, who we had on because you guys are co-race directors for the Devil Dog Ultra. So do you want to talk about that for a quick second, Pat?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, Wes, I spoke with Wes last night actually. We had a
Did
Devil
you?
Dog meeting. So Wes, myself, and Justin Contoys are co-race directors for a 100-miler, 100K, 50K in Prince William Forest, Virginia, called Devil Dog Ultras. It was started in 2016 by Tony. Last year we took it over, so we're gearing up for year 2, and this year's race is December 7th and 8th.
Very cool. So I'm sure we'll have you on and we can promote that a little bit more once it gets
For
closer
sure.
to the well, we'll give it plenty of time to sign up because wait, December, holy shit, that's coming up
We're
soon.
getting close.
I know.
We only got
God damn
about
it.
70 spots left right now.
Price increase
Oh, shit.
tomorrow, I think, right? Or was it today?
Oh shit.
Anyhow, still register.
All right.
They
So
done this yesterday.
we dropped the ball a little bit for that, but congratulations. I hope that it's like a sellout success because last year went really well. Did you guys have a great time last year?
It was kind of fly by the seat of our pants from when we took it over, but yeah, it was awesome. And now that we've had a little bit of time, we're really looking forward to this year.
Very cool.
So super excited.
Awesome. So yeah, like Charlotte had touched upon, this race sold out like super quickly. And I remember after last year, Pat, the other Pat, said that he's like, if you're interested in doing this race again, because I was honestly on the fence. I had such I can't really say bad experience, but it was like almost a little traumatic last year. Like it just did not go how I thought it would go. But it took me a long time to want to do another 100-miler. So yeah, I was a little iffy there. And he was telling me about it probably like mid-October. Like, this is the plan. We're going to get together. You're welcome to come. And so I had to noodle on it for a little bit. And I was also trying to get into the Chicago Marathon. And I guess it didn't happen. So here I am. And I was ready at like 7 p.m. on January 1st, ready to sign up. And the Yeti gods were smiling upon me, and I got a spot. So I'm glad you guys had offered. And I mean, I was ready to Yeti again. It was it was hard, but I was ready to Yeti. So, Charlotte, you were the one who really put the plans in motion. So, do you want to talk about a little bit about how plans came together?
Yeah, so the house that we had, the creepy house that you and Eric have talked about, which is
there are creepier houses down there apparently,
But not
because
creepier
we
sellers.
have some friends over at the Trail Trash podcast, and
Yeah.
they stayed in an even creepier house, and there was a doll that lived in there, and that's just a big nope for me.
Well, yeah, a bunch of us from Upstate Ultras in South Carolina had rented that house in, I think it was 2021 or no, 2022. Anyway, previous year, a bunch of us rented that house, and it was just so convenient because it's right there at the finish line. It's right there at the shuttle pickup, and it's just a great little house, and it's part of a kind of like a not plantation, but it's just there's
Right.
the larger house that was built Mount Com in 1827, as we all know by now. And
Thank you, Wi-Fi password.
yes.
Educational password.
and this was the guest house. I think it was built in 1909, and it's just a great little house, and it sleeps a lot of people. And it's just fun. It's just a great way to gather people together. And so I've stayed in the house before. We rented the house last year as well. So this was my third year staying in that house. And it's just convenient. I shouldn't tell anybody where it is because I'm going to go put the deposit down this week on it. So for next year.
Well, hopefully you'll have the deposit down by the time this
It
drops.
was a terrible house. Nobody look into it. It was haunted. It was, leaked.
We'll have Eric
We
beep
did.
it out. Just
Before we left on Saturday, we did crack the door open and look down in the cellar.
Oh.
We didn't.
That was
we
the
didn't
big
actually
threat
go
of the
in there,
weekend.
but we did crack it open.
Yep, that was a big threat of the weekend, and I was not having it. I would have run outside if that door opened while I was inside.
That's why you guys put me in that bedroom. That's why you put me in the bedroom right
Right
there,
by the door, yeah.
I understand now.
We need someone brave in there.
Not it at all. All right, so let's get some different perspectives here. So, Brian, you had never met like me, or have you met Julia before this?
Nope.
All right. Oh, that's right. So what were your thoughts of meeting all these new people, being stuck in a house with some strangers? I mean, it was a pretty full house too at one point.
Well, I wasn't really worried about it. My only concern was right when I got there and I met you and Julia, who drove together, was, all right, I've been in a car for 6 hours straight by myself, not talking to anybody. Hopefully I don't go overboard and just like blow you guys away by running my mouth constantly.
Well, there was no issue with that because that's how I operate too.
You guys were very gracious for that. So I think
a wonderful first impression.
But yeah, so let's talk about how we got there. So Brian, you can give a little extra on your road trip, and then we'll go into everybody else.
Yeah, so I live in Charleston, so it was about 5.5, 6 hour drive. Got a little confused when I went through Tennessee. I wasn't expecting that. Going from South Carolina to Virginia, I did not realize that I would be via Tennessee. So that took me by a little bit by surprise. But other than that, aside from getting there a half an hour before we could get in the Airbnb and just sitting in a random parking lot for a while, and then I couldn't find the road to get to the house. I had to pull up. Charlotte gave a picture from like a satellite view, circled it with arrows, and finally I gave up and actually looked at what she sent us. And then I was able to find the house.
And it helped. Who knew?
It did. It was surprisingly helpful. I couldn't believe it.
So, Julia, why don't you talk about our little road trip?
Oh my gosh, we had so much fun. So I live in Fayetteville, North Carolina, which is southeastern North Carolina. I drove up to Raleigh and went to the Raleigh Durham International Airport and picked up Erica on the side of the curb there, and we packed bags in the
Was
car.
hitchhiking a little
We
bit.
had a lot of stuff, but we packed everything in the car and headed off, and we talked a mile a minute. We talked as fast as we drove, and it was so much fun. We talked about everything. We stopped for lunch and made our way to the mountains and talked about the weather. And somewhere around Virginia, it started raining, and we just thought, "Uh-oh, here it comes." We had a great drive. It was really fun.
I second that. So yeah, I remember booking my trip. I was trying to coordinate with you guys, and you guys would not let me do the same flight that I had
Well, that was
last year because I
crazy.
went from Manchester to Charlotte to Tri-Cities, which is in Tennessee, and then you just drive over the border. And they're like, "No, don't do that. Like, why would you do that? We'll come here. We'll pick you up. We'll road trip." And I was like, "All right, I'm sold. This is going to be fun," and I'm very glad that it worked out that way. So, Charlotte, why don't you talk about your trip down to the
Yeah,
house?
so I had a kitty cat emergency that morning. So my departure from Wilmington, North Carolina on the coast was slightly delayed. And then swung through Raleigh. And unfortunately, by the time I got up there, we're a little bit late from where Julia and Erica were. Then I had to make a side trip with an escort of the other Pat to a very sketch storage unit facility slash
about that.
brothel to pick up a little cabinet I needed for like costuming supplies. So I'm so glad he was there because it was very
That
scary.
was amazing.
Anyway, so we had to
Wasn't it?
get that loaded up, and so then came over from Raleigh, and normally I'd have been right there about the same time, but we were a little bit late, but y'all didn't get too far ahead of us in the party before we got there.
Yeah.
No, we had good company. Did we even? I'm pretty sure you cracked a beer open, Brian, when you got back, and then I was like, "Oh fuck it, I'll do it." Might as well.
I'm pretty sure I had a beer open by the time you guys got there.
Well, you were just hanging out, so why not? I would have done the same thing.
Well,
So-
I wasn't driving. I'm just going to put it that way.
No laws were broken in the making of this podcast. So Pat, you showed up a little bit later than we did. Why don't you give us your rundown of arriving at the house?
Yeah, so I think you guys got there on Wednesday, right? I was planning to come Thursday morning, did my shakeout run here. I live just south of DC near Quantico. And did shakeout run, and right when I got back and was literally getting ready to get in the car is when they announced that they were bumping it back. So I debated I was actually leaning towards staying home for a night, and Julie said, "No, we're here, come."
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay," and hopped in the car and hit it out there. Realized that one of my pacers wasn't gonna be able to come because of the date shift. But then I got there, and you guys were having quite the time when I got there around, what was that, around 4 p.m. on Thursday?
So
Watching
You guys had
Charlotte's
been
YouTube
having some fun
videos.
for quite a while.
So to preface this, we had an extra day. The whole time on Wednesday, it was, will it happen? Won't it happen? Will it happen? Won't it happen? We're monitoring the
Course
emails.
change.
Yeah, trying to figure it out. So yeah, I get off the plane on Wednesday, and it had already been a course change. So that was a little bit of a oh man, what are we gonna do? Like it's still on. So instead of doing the normal White Top to Abingdon to White Top to Abingdon again, it was Abingdon to Damascus 3 times over, and there was a little out and back thrown in there. So that was the first course change that we had to deal with. And then we're just monitoring stuff, and then we get the news that it is going to be postponed by a whole day. So we kind of go into panic mode. Who wants to talk about this one?
Well, I don't know that we really went into panic mode. This is Brian, by the way.
Party mode.
Well, I went into panic mode, but then you guys kind of talked me off a ledge. So.
The rest of us kind of look at it as like, all right, we need to do something during the day. So we started looking to see if there was any theater shows. I was hey, we're kind of up in the mountains. Maybe there's like an orchard nearby or a cider mill, and we could go get some like hot cider and maybe cider donuts or something like that. All we could find was a cider distillery that was in town, and I think that's why Pat Early stumbled into what he did when he got here.
Total shit show.
Well, and possibly the only Erica was panicking. She was the only one that flew. Everyone else could drive home a day later with no problem. But Erica immediately got on the phone and was trying to change flights.
Yeah. So yeah, the race got postponed from Friday start to a Saturday start, and I was like, oh no, like what do I do? I had a Sunday evening flight, and I was like, am I gonna make this? So we were trying to figure out where could we stay for an extra day so we don't have to drive right after a 100-miler. Can I change my flight? We worked it out, but like Brian was saying, we had a whole day now. Like, what are we going to do with this whole day of nothing? So.
And Charlotte did great. She immediately got on the phone and asked if we could extend our Airbnb stay one night, and we couldn't. So then we found hotel options. And Charlotte went into like business mode immedially. Then she found a solution, and then business mode was done, and party mode started.
Yes.
That's me.
I feel like everybody was doing grown-up stuff, and I'm just like, hey, let's find something fun to do. But I also I actually made an effort to be like, all right, let's find something to do that's just not going to a brewery or a bar or something. And I did my best. We ended up at a cidery. So I don't know.
First we went out for Greek. We went out for Greek food.
Which was delicious. Yes. It would have been really good pre-race food, but still ate it anyways. But yeah, tell us more about this cidery. Let's go, Charlotte, you go ahead.
I'm not a huge fan of ciders, but it was really good. And I think most of us, we split a bunch of the samplers. And so, we could kind of taste everything, and we all kind of found our favorites. And it was just a cute little place. It was kind of an interconnected building to where there was a little store next door that had some holistic and wellness foods and things like that. There was a barbecue place downstairs, so that kind of smelled good, but we had full Greek bellies. And it was a cool place to hang out. It wasn't too crowded. It was absolutely pouring outside. We would look outside, and so we're like, well, there's no point in going anywhere. So
right.
A couple other Yeti friends, Laura and Brandon, joined us, and we had fun. And then the Shire shenanigans started.
So I got to attribute that to you, Charlotte. You definitely got that ball rolling. So we're just sitting there drinking our flights. And we're like, Charlotte's been gone a really long time. Where'd she go? And then all of a sudden you come back and you have this little adorable alpaca. We're like, what is this? And also the Where's Charlotte book. So
yeah.
That was wonderful.
Well, both were intended for my niece and nephews, but I'm like, no, they'll get the book, but not the alpaca.
Definitely. So you were just looking around this little shop and found the alpaca and was like, I got to get this. This is coming home with me.
And they do have an alpaca farm nearby there. And this is actual fur from the alpaca. We read the care instructions, and so cute little souvenir.
So Charlotte started this off, and then Brian took it from there.
Yeah, so I think what I did was I saw that, and I was like, I have one of my friends watching my dog for me while I'm up here. Like, I should go see what kind of little knickknacks and stuff they have in there. So I found this wicker basket house. So it's shaped like a mushroom. So it has a little door in the front, but it has the little top that comes off. And I was like, oh, I'll get one of these. That'll be a nice present for her. And I'm like, but I should also get something to put in there. And then I found I guess I'll say corral of where all the alpacas are.
Right.
So I grabbed one of them, and then I come back out. So I got my little mushroom house with an alpaca in it. And I think that's where the black alpaca of the family came in.
I was real jealous that they had these adorable little alpacas, so I had to go check it out. So Charlotte had this really cute white one. Brian's had a little brown fur on the bottom. It was white on the top. Yeah, so cute. And then Charlotte said that there was just a little black one over there amongst a bunch of other white ones. So I was like, I gotta go look. And this is where Moonshot came in. So I had to get the little black one. He's so soft and cute. And I remember I was walking up and I was like, I'm going to hide it in my, like, I tried to hide it in my hood. And I was like, oh, I didn't get it. Just kidding. I did. So
She said,
I was so
"Psych."
excited. I couldn't even pretend that I didn't get it. But Julia came down and was like, oh yeah, this is a great idea. I'll do this. So 3 alpacas joined our little menagerie. I don't know what you want to call it. But yeah, it was a very interesting afternoon. And then Charlotte disappears again.
As Charlotte is known to do.
And I had my Yeti hoodie with my kangaroo pocket, and I'm like, there were people that were alpaca-less, and I felt so sorry for them, and so I bought 3 more alpacas for the people that didn't have one. I did not want them to be, felt like they didn't belong in our alpaca family club. So I get back, and I think somebody's telling a very heartwarming story or something really nice, and all of a sudden I interrupt. I'm like going, "You get an alpaca, and you get an alpaca," and like tossing alpacas across the cider table.
Well, whatever was going on before that, I don't remember. I just remember the wonderful moment of like you dealing out alpacas, like.
Well, because you hit them like all through like your hood and your jacket and
everywhere.
everything, and it was like
The Oprah moment.
So each of our alpacas we decided to name after one of the ciders at the cidery. So mine is called Moonshot. What about you guys?
Mine's White Top, which is also representative of Yeti, of course.
Mm-hmm.
mine is Trestle Cherry.
Oh, that was a good one. And mine was
That was, and I think that was everybody's everybody's favorite.
That was
ciders.
one of my favorites.
It was
and
delicious.
mine is
Yeah, that was good.
which was also one of the sweeter, drier ciders. There's that.
But
This all
in
happened before I got there, but there was a video that I was able to see that helped fill in some gaps.
You had to
You guys will
preview
have to
it
check
before you got
out,
there.
yeah, Julia's Instagram because she made this really adorable video because we were just messing around with the little like mushroom house that Brian bought, and they're like all just like, oh my god, I don't even remember.
That was fun. We were looking for generic Shire music, and then later we realized it's called Chilbo Baggins.
It was the best. So Pat unfortunately missed out on a lot of our fun, but he's like, "Hey, I'm almost at the house." So we were like, "All right, it's time to wrap this up and bring the party back home."
Mm-hmm.
Poor Pat. He didn't know what he was getting into.
Seriously, yeah.
Kind of regretting I didn't get down there earlier. Should have come on Wednesday.
We told you.
Then we went back and did the beer exchange.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie
yeah.
though. At the beginning, when Julie added me, I kept asking Julie, "Hey, where are we staying? Do I need to reserve something?" No, I got it. Don't worry. How many people are you bringing? And I wasn't sure. And so when I got added to the Facebook group, if you notice, I was pretty quiet at first because I had no idea what I was getting involved. And that chat was pretty lively right off the bat.
Yeah. And it had been
It all worked
quiet
out in the long run.
for weeks, and then as soon as I added Pat, all this stuff was blowing up, and I was like, "Oh, Pat's in for it."
That's just the inkling of what he was in for. Yeah, we were fun. We're fun people, right? I think we're fun.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure. I did notice that Chris exited the chat pretty soon after we left the house.
I saw that too.
Once Yeti was done, he was gone.
Bummer. So yeah, the beer exchange. I think that was another one of Charlotte's brainchilds.
Again, passed along from the tradition of the house. Everybody bring a 6-pack of your local favorite beer. So just everybody kind of bring it and shove it in the fridge. And we did a couple tastings where like, okay, here's what I brought, and here's what I'm sharing. So that was fun. Everybody brought a lot of different things, and so it's interesting trying a lot of the different ones.
Julia was like she was the tasting master. She got like a little glass and just like got like a little beer from everybody instead of like actually just like pounding a bunch of beers.
Yeah, a little bit of
It
everything.
was the most grown up thing I saw the entire weekend.
She was probably the smart one because I if I recall, you and I and maybe Pat did not wake up feeling so great on Friday morning.
Yeah, you guys were up forever that night. I could hear you till about 1:00, and I was like,
Was it really?
in another
late?
world,
Oh
we
my
would
God.
be starting a 100-miler in 4 hours, but they have an extra 24 hours, so go for it.
No.
Well, trust me, if that race really was like the next day, there's no way I would have had anywhere
Yeah.
near as much beer.
And you forgot the amazing spaghetti dinner that Julia made us.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
that's
Yeah,
right.
that's
How
what I was
many
trying to
people
think.
did we
What did we
have?
do for dinner? I couldn't
Yeah.
remember what we did for dinner. Yeah.
I was like, I brought way too much food, and then we had a whole nother day we needed food for, and it worked out perfectly.
Mhm.
And we
Definitely
had
did.
so much food left over.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it was amazing to see that Julie could cook something not in casserole
Oh,
form.
then let's talk about casseroles and casserole dishes, huh?
Here we go.
Tell us about the casserole.
The house with the
Julia.
casserole. Okay, so when we stayed at the house in 2023, I had brought a casserole from home, like frozen, and I also brought all the ingredients to make another one. So I made my casserole there, and I pulled out a dish out of the cupboard. And then I had a lot of leftovers that I packed home, and I got home with 2 casserole dishes. And this was a really nice. It was like not the 9x13, and not the 8x8, but like the kind of the middle size. I don't know what those dimensions are, but that's the best size. Anyhow, I got 2 of them unpacked, and I thought, oh my gosh, I only have one. And I was like, I have taken this casserole dish from the Airbnb, and I was so embarrassed, and I didn't tell anybody. So anyhow, when Charlotte said we're going back to the same house, my first thought was, thank God I can return that casserole dish. So I made a casserole in a couple weeks before the race in that dish and froze it so I would make sure it went back. And then I packed another one in one of my dishes. And darned if I didn't leave town and leave my casserole dish in the Airbnb. I guess I had to pay it back for a year. So if we book it, we book it again. Next year I will get my dish back and leave the correct one there, and hopefully I'll get it all squared away.
It's not like have a penny, take a penny,
I
leave
know.
a penny.
Have a casserole dish, leave a casserole dish. Oh well.
Oh man. But your cooking skills were on point because that was the most amazing breakfast. You made like an
Oh,
egg
yeah.
Patrick's gonna laugh.
kind of thing, and then the what was it? The hash brown thing. So good.
Oh yeah, that is good. Yeah, Patrick and our family does race weekends and family reunions, and that's just standards. We always have that on Saturday morning. We always have spaghetti dinner the night before. So even though Pat wasn't there, he knows exactly what we ate and how it tasted because we've been doing that for, I don't know, decades, right, Pat?
Yeah, I know what it is. I don't know how to make it or
It's
cook
your
it, but
mom's
I can
recipe.
certainly eat it.
Love it.
I'll work on that. I'll take a note on that one.
Nice.
We know a place that has extra casserole dishes if you need to try
Yeah.
it.
Good point.
So,
So
next year, why are you going to Yeti? Julie's going to say, I'm not going to run. I'm going to get my casserole.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I'll save $400 and just pick up a dish.
True.
Although I have to go back. I keep trying to go back to get to White Top. So
You need to do the
Yeah.
whole
I know.
course.
I
It's
cannot
going to
believe I have
happen.
been there 3 times as a registered runner now and have never gotten up to White Top. So sad.
Does
Next
anybody
year's the
know,
year.
given the way things transpired this year, will Yeti still be a Western qualifier next year, or will they drop off a year since they didn't hold it?
We had a conversation about finishing numbers, didn't we?
Yeah, because Western's based on finishing numbers. So if they don't have a race, I don't know if there's a stipulation for something like this, or if they're going
I'm
to have
sure
to
they
go out
came
a
up with
year.
something. I'm sure they came up with some concessions like during COVID years when races weren't happening. So that was going to be this was going to be my one for the year to get me back in the lottery. But
I know so many people who come and do this one because it's the qualifier.
I have
sure.
to say, last year when I did it, I threw my name in the ring and I was like, please don't pick me. Please don't pick me. Please don't pick me.
Not yet.
They did not pick me. But I get what they mean about this being like a really nice one to do. Like if you want to qualify, this is the one to do. Or not, because we want to get in and not you guys. So we had a wonderful Thursday night. We ate, we drank some more. We probably drank some more. And this was when Hurricane Helene was really starting to roll in. Like we just knew that the race was postponed till Saturday at this point, but rain was moving in, wind was moving in, and things were iffy again. So Friday morning hits, and let's go around and see how you guys thought everything went. Like you guys were in contact with other friends, Julia, Pat number 2, and I went for a walk. Like we all have kind of a different experience here. So Charlotte, why don't you start?
yeah, because I think I was probably one of the ones up early because
Yes.
I was with a normal schedule, I was supposed to be working during the day on Thursday because I didn't want to waste a vacation day. I was taking a half day on Thursday, and then since we weren't going to be doing that on Friday, I was kind of trying to work a little bit on Friday. And so got up, got moving. I had to make a couple, run a couple errands, needed to go get some Fireball. And
Essentials.
went and grabbed breakfast. And it was raining and it wasn't that bad. But, just went to the Girl and the Raven. I got it right. And
you did. The Bitch and the Bird. What was the other one?
the Whore and the Checker.
Chicken the Chicky.
So went and grabbed breakfast. It was raining pretty hard, and then went to Walgreens to get something, and then went to the ABC store. And when we came back, our little house has two different entrances because remember Brian told you how I had to draw the map because it's kind of confusing. So we went with the entrance that was from the shopping center side, and got up there, and there was something down in the driveway. So I got out, and tried to clear off some of the branches. Then I realized it was a whole tree. So I'm like, yep, not going to go that way. But the way it was kind of leaning, I figured, I know Brian has a truck and Pat has an SUV. So I'm like, so one of them could probably, if needed, just come down and just kind of shove it off to the side. So we went around to the other entrances by the trailhead, and there was a lot bigger tree down. So I'm like, okay, we can't get back to the house already. And so we went back around and parked in the shopping center, and then just decided to run up the driveway and jump over the tree that was down to get back to the house. So yeah, then that's just kind of where we all started, just sitting around, seeing the wind and the rain, and you could hear things falling and dropping and the trees going down. And I was still trying to do a little bit of work. We lost internet right about lunchtime. Everybody else was kind of having fun. So I'm like, well, if I don't have internet, that's good. I'm just going to start hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all just kind of sitting on the porch. And then I got to text the owner of the place. And they live in that actual big house that's right there on the property. So they were in communication the whole time. Hey, if you need anything, let us know. So he had already texted, hey, I think your internet may be out. I'm like, yeah, we're good. And then he texts a little bit later and says, is your power out? I'm like, I don't know. We're sitting out on the porch just having a good time. And sure enough, went inside and the power was out. And by that point, I mean, y'all correct me, the storm was pretty much almost over with. I mean, as far as just the bad rain and the bad winds, the sun was starting to creep out a little bit later. So we're all like, okay, this is good. So, we're just kind of all sitting around, kind of keeping an eye on things. And, we knew packet pickup was going to be at 5:00. So let's just, hang out here. And we had dinner reservations at this great little Italian place that we go to every year. But yeah, so that's when everybody just started seeing things on their phone and hearing messages from other people. I'll stop and let somebody else talk now because get somebody else's perspective on what was going on that day.
Yeah. So Julia, Pat, and I went. Pat number 2. Sorry, I feel bad to call him that. So Pat and I have the run streak going. So he just had to do a mile. We did one Wednesday. We did one Thursday. And we had to keep our streak going. So Julia wanted to come with. We decided we were going to just go down to the trail and see what it looked like. Because like you said, Charlotte, it's like right there. It's like 0.2 away from the house. So we're going down the driveway. There's a ton of down trees. There is a giant one that we have to like crawl under and through and over.
We had to crawl through the canopy.
Oh yeah, I've got a picture of you. You're like, ta-da! And it took a couple of minutes to get through this thing. Like there was no way that it was going to be easily moved for a car. There was just no way that was just an entrance that was not going to be used. So we eventually get down to the trail. They have those big barriers up, like blocking off the trail. So of course we're like, well, we lost Pat. We don't know where he went. So Julie and I were like, well, let's just go around and see if we can get to the trail from the other side. Cause there's like a parking lot if you go a little bit further. And so we worked our way around, made it on the trail. We may or may not have gone past the barrier, but and I was like, oh, it really doesn't look that bad. There's just some sticks. Like no big branches. So we were kind of hopeful at this point. We're like, all right, maybe it really didn't hit so hard. And yeah.
Mhm.
So Julie, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, we got back up to the house and we were walking. We had to go through the canopy like squirrels again. We crawled through the top of the
Mhm.
tree, which was lying on the ground on its side, and got up to the house. And I think, like, as soon as we walked it, like, I hadn't even gotten onto the porch, and somebody said it's canceled, and everyone was trying to see their email, and we did have one, and then we would try to go inside and realize the power had gone off. So, but yeah, but that
Oh.
day was wild. You know, when I kind of slept in because there was no race to go to that morning, and it was nice to sleep in, but the rain had already started and the wind was crazy. The weather had said it would be 50-mile-an-hour gusts, and you could just hear it howling through the trees, and the trees were just bending and waving. And then we could hear sirens all day long, just all day long, you know, emergency sirens and ambulances and fire trucks and trees crashing down. So just sitting inside the house, you just heard crashes all around the house. Luckily, none of our cars had anything land on them, but it stopped eventually. We went out for the shakeout. We crawled back in through the driveway, and that was the news we got when we got back. So disappointing. But seeing how bad things were and hearing all those ambulances, you know, that was the only thing that was able to be done at that point.
Right. Does anybody want to talk about what happened to Damascus?
Okay, I'll try. Yeah, I mean, I did the math afterwards. I've run over 500 miles on the Creeper Trail.
Oh.
And I love that area. And I'm very emotional, sorry, y'all, because it was an emotional day. And I cry at Hallmark commercials, so don't think this is anything
Hey,
special.
you cry. This is your platform. You do what you got to do.
But
the Creeper Trail is a special place.
Yeah, but since we really had no, you know, they had said that the packet pickup or, you know, just come get some stuff is going to happen. You know, so we had something to look forward to, but that wasn't until like 5 o'clock or so. So we're all just kind of sitting around on our phones. We still have, most of us still have cell service. We don't have internet. We don't have power. You know, Brian's breaking out his huge power pack brick that we're all plugging into, and it was funny because the owners of the house came over, was talking about, you know, power and all that. I'm like, well, luckily we all have our headlamps charged up for the race. So I think we got enough light to go on. But, you know, we're just kind of sitting around, and, you know, I had a friend that was staying at the campgrounds, and she sent in the pictures, you know, and then they had to move their camper up a little bit. And then she sends a picture of this camper going down the river. And then she's like, and there goes a truck. And then, you know, just hearing people that are, you know, Yeti 100 really used to be focused around Damascus. And so people kind of really associate Damascus with the home base of being Yeti, is kind of shifted now more to Abingdon. And so that's kind of why a lot of us decide to stay in Abingdon now. It's a little bit more convenient for packet pickup, the after race party, but still Damascus is really kind of the hometown of Yeti. And so a lot of people stay there, and there's a lot of cute little quaint cottages and small little, you know, hostels, because it's, you know, it's Trail Town, USA. So a lot of really small, older buildings, and just to hear people of, you know, hey, we got evacuated. And so then the word comes out that they're evacuating Damascus. And so I reach out to the owner of the house. I'm like, look, I've got friends that are being evacuated. I'm telling them just to come here, just to have a place to sit down and, you know, breathe, and then come up with a plan, you know, use the internet, because we thought we had internet at the time, to try to get hotel reservation or just kind of see what's going on. And they were so nice. And, you know, it's just like, whatever you need, just, you know, tell everybody to come on over. But don't use that one driveway that got the big tree. So friends started just kind of coming over as they were getting evacuated out of Damascus. And I was just kind of, you know, they literally had minutes to grab things. And, you know, like if they were like we were, because of the race being changed as far as the route itself. So that did, you know, kind of a change up on drop bags. You know, we were having to redo our drop bags. So we had stuff everywhere. I mean, we had just race stuff everywhere, because we kept on having to, okay, now we're not going to have that drop bag. Now we're going to have this. And so I can't imagine what they were going through, having to, like, within, you know, 10, 15 minutes, get whatever they could together. and leave, and much less the people that actually live there and have, their whole worldly possessions there. So, the mood kind of turned somber. We tried to stay positive and, keep an eye on people. And, we're hearing more stories of, flooding and evacuations and roads being washed out, and other roads being, we had another friend that is actually somebody I usually stay with in Damascus. And, they're kind of trapped because of trees down in her neighborhood. So I think it was great to be there with this group of friends, because otherwise, you felt like you had people there that were in the same kind of emotional state you were. You were disappointed that the race was being canceled, but all of us knew immediately that was minuscule to what was going on. So that's my
Absolutely.
take on it.
It was heavy.
So back up. If you guys remember, after we had dinner on Thursday night, right? We went down to Damascus. I think it
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
Hurricane
Appalachian
party.
Brewery.
Yeah,
So
Appalachian
literally, what?
Heritage Distillery and Brewery. Yep.
Mhm.
I think we were there from what, like 7 to 9 or something. I know
Mhm.
Jason was there. There was a bunch of Yeti folks, and it was a cool scene. Just hang out, had a pint.
Yeah, because it was not the night before the race at that point. It was the
Right. It was
extra
weird.
night.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
So everybody was
I mean,
able to, hang out and have a little bit more fun. And yeah, a little brumbalowing going on, except for Brian.
yeah.
Yeah.
We should come back to that because I had no idea what that was until this
And now
weekend,
you know.
But
Oh, the
but
brumblowing.
yeah.
It's a
But
thing.
think about it though. We were down there in Damascus at 9 o'clock on Thursday, right? We
Yep.
came in, went to sleep,
Yeah.
and what, by noon the next day, basically all hell had broken loose, and
Yes.
Yep.
we were getting those calls, and it's kind of crazy how it flipped because I certainly didn't think it was going to be nearly that bad when we left there at 9 o'clock
I know.
No.
on
And it was
Thursday night.
underwater 24 hours later.
Really, it was. I mean, that's how fast it came. Not only there, but obviously the other parts of North Carolina. But it's crazy how it flipped.
I know.
hmm I think we got really lucky. We were just north of that, and I guess
hmm
being not along the river, we definitely lucked out. Like we were very, very lucky with how things went. Especially, we'll get into this, but our route on Saturday was completely clear.
Mhm.
81. There
Was
was
it?
nothing there. So
And it
Yeah, it
we'll
was
get into
another thing that was
it was kind of
startling.
crazy just because like when we're getting all these alerts and Damascus is flooding out and we're sitting there on the porch and the sun came out and we're sitting there in the sun. All the winds have died down and we're just getting flooded with all the reports that Damascus is underwater. Everything's getting washed away. And,
Mhm.
Yeah,
and it's
it
not
was
that far away. It was like what, like a 10, 15-minute drive to get there for us?
Yeah.
something like
And
that.
it felt
Yeah,
it
yeah.
felt so
I mean,
much closer because think how many times some of us have run between Abingdon and Damascus. I mean, you can just picture almost every turn in the trail right there and going by
Mhm.
Watauga and Alvarado, and it's so close to where we were, and we know that land so well, and it's
Mhm.
I mean, even the landmarks, we were always, Auction Jesus, he was underwater
yeah,
apparently.
yeah. People are
So
using
Yep.
we're worried
yeah,
about the Pepsi machine. We're worried about the people and, that the
yeah,
locals that come out and take good care of us, the businesses that we, Sundog Outfitters and Adventure
yes,
Damascus, they always do such a great job taking care of
yeah.
Yetis. And, we're all just worried about them.
Hmm.
it was
Yeah,
it,
one
was- it was
thing.
crazy.
Oh,
Sorry,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Pat. You go ahead.
No, it was crazy just having the extra day, right? I don't know about you guys, but I don't plan an extra day in my stuff.
That
So
messed
to,
with me.
to be there, have all your gear, like everything was organized, like literally there was nothing to do, stretched, rolled, all that stuff, like just waiting for the
You were
race
the
to
only one who
come.
stretched.
Some of you did, yeah.
Uh,
Remember to stretch.
had all the gear. Oh no, you put the compression pants on, right?
Oh
Somebody
yeah,
did.
that's
It was a
like
Julie
joke.
did,
inactive
yep.
stretching. Yes,
It's better than
it
nothing.
is. They were great.
But it was just weird to have that day. And then I don't know about you guys. So if you remember, Brad and Chris got there right after it got canceled, right? And
Mhm.
Mhm.
Brad and I
They
took off
pulled
for a
up.
run, right? And I was fully tapered, eating well, hydrated, all that stuff. And we go out on the Creeper Trail, and I could barely run 9 minute pace. I remember I stopped at mile 2 and told Brad, like, hey, I need a minute. And it makes no sense. I should be able to run way faster than that on an
No.
easy day on that trail. But it was like, I don't know if it was just a mental stress or it was very weird.
Oh
I don't
wow.
think I've had a situation like that in a race. And it just like, I don't know, it was very weird because I would have expected to be kind of fully ready to go going significantly faster on an easy run, and it was like the body just didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
It was very weird.
Yeah. The brain and the heart upset the body too much. It was a very upsetting
Yeah, it was
weekend.
definitely something.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah. So one thing I have to comment on is how quickly the Yetis banded together to start like a GoFundMe to try to just help with some of to provide some relief, just because there were so many businesses and homes and people just needing food and water and just to get out. So the Yetis banded together, and there were several different places where you could donate to help out. So I'm going to have Eric put those in the show notes in case anybody wants to donate. So I know there's Feeding Southwest Virginia. There was a GoFundMe for Sundog Outfitters. Did I say that correctly, Charlotte?
Yes, yeah, and Adventure Damascus, yes.
Adventure Damascus, yeah.
And
then
Damascus Diner and,
Yep.
All those places. Because that's what, like I said, they take us in and they, we know a lot of the people there. So,
yep. So I'll have him put those links in the show notes, and hopefully we can generate a little more relief for the people of Damascus and surrounding areas. So, but yeah, the Yetis are something else, and that's one of the reasons why I'm very proud to be one. That you and everybody else are just so kind and wanting to help, and like you said, it didn't even matter that the race was canceled. We had other things on our mind, and we just totally pivoted, and there was a new focus. So it was just about making sure everybody was safe, making sure people could get out, making sure people were accounted for. Just total pivot point.
Yeah, and we did, like I said, we did get to go to the packet pickup that night. So it was good to see people again, and just give them hugs, give them, a little extra hug. Because, a lot of those, like I said, were people that had to evacuate, and they're still shell shocked, kind of what was going on. So, it wasn't your typical fun party Yeti atmosphere, but it was just good to see everybody and just, give everybody a hug and have a little toast and, see everybody before we parted our ways.
It was so somber at that, and the power was off in the brewery, and it was just so strange. It was good to see people and good to get hugs and give hugs, but it was just so like there was a big cloud over it, and everyone was just so worried.
Yep. Well, the beer was still flowing, so we were at least happy to have some sort of distraction and got to hang out. And besides you guys, I got to see a couple Yeti friends from last year. So John and Joe were the two gentlemen who pretty much helped me finish my race last year, and I was so excited to see them. Julia, Pat, and I had actually bumped into them when we were kind of checking out the trail, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy to see you guys. And then we got to see them again at packet pickup, and I actually saw a gentleman named Jeff who I met at Notchview this past year, which was really fun. So, and then of course we got to see Mr. Brumbelow himself, the other Eric. And I have to say that's probably one of the highlights of getting together with all of you guys is Brumbelowing. So who wants to to give an example, or not?
I think Brian
example,
should
but like break it down. Oh yeah, because you're the one who loves to Brumbelow.
I have not Brumbelowed, and I don't plan to Brumbelow.
I couldn't get him to do it, you guys.
No matter how angry Charlotte gets at me about it.
Oh, that's right. Erica, will you please tell Brian that I'm still not speaking to him?
Brian, Charlotte's not speaking to you, and I'm pretty sure it's going to last until next year unless you do something about it.
No, I need a place to stay for Charleston 100, so yeah, I need to be nice.
She's not talking to you until Thanksgiving, so there you go. You got a deadline.
Well, now I have something to be thankful for.
Oh.
All right, but who wants to tell our listeners what Brumbelowing is?
I can tell the history of it and how it started. And this has been a couple years now. Eric Brumbelow, who's one of our dear friends out of Columbia, South Carolina. I know him through, of course, Yeti races. Know him through Upstate Ultra races. He's really involved in Team RWB. He's active military. Just a great guy all around, and just that amazing personality. and energy he brings into every race. He goes to all the races. A lot of times he's volunteering. A lot of times he's running. A lot of times he's just out there, just to have fun and, and give everybody a pep talk and, just keep everybody motivated. So Eric's a great guy. And so a couple years ago, there was a series of pictures that he would take inside a porta potty. And I think it started at one race. So first one I remember was he was eating a popsicle selfie inside the porta potty. And everybody's like, oh, you're eating inside the porta potty. And then everybody's like, so then it kind of became everybody else would, oh, well, here's a selfie of me inside a porta potty. And then we would find like the handicap sized porta potty. Well, how many people can we get in this porta potty? And then the next thing you know, it's at, packet pickups and after parties. Oh, let's overtake the restroom and see how many people we can get in this restroom, and we're going to brumbalo.
It's taken on a name of its own.
It is. And hashtag brumbaloing. And people get upset. Oh my gosh, I miss brumbaloing. People get really upset. I missed it. So
when you see the crowd moving, you just jump in like a conga.
Yeah, just go.
Don't miss it.
I was trying to, so at packet pickup, I was like, oh, it's happening. Because last year I got to do that with everybody in the Sweet Bay Brewing bathroom. And it was like the highlight of my trip. So I was like, come on, everybody. I got John and I got Joe. And I don't think I got Jeff, but like, I was like, Brian, let's go. And you're like, So I have the picture here and I can't even, there's at least 20 people in this picture. Like there's so freaking many people that it warms my heart. Yes, so many people in the bathroom.
And my tribute to that this year was my costume was actually a porta potty. And when you opened up the door, I had like the faces of all the different Yetis from, the OG Yetis.
It was great.
And I was kind of upset that I didn't get to wear it during the race because I really worked hard on that costume. I was so happy for it and proud of it. So I ended up putting it on a little bit at the after party-ish or packet pickup / time to go home party. I don't know what we were going to call it. But
definitely amazing. I'm trying to look and see like all the
save it for next time.
Definitely break it out. So Charlotte, I'm going to leave that question for when you have your own episode about like how you come up with your costume ideas and how long it takes you and why the hell hasn't Joanne Fabrics sponsored you yet?
Oh my God. Joanne Michaels, Party City. I'm there every week.
That would be wonderful.
They know you by name.
Yeah. They're like, oh, what are you making? Let's see. I'm making a spider costume. I'm making a dopey costume.
So this happens. We have fun, but we forgot to say how we had to pivot ourselves because we were like, we're at a loss right now. We want to run. What do we do? Whose idea was it to go to Hinson Lake? I know Julia knows the race director, but was Charlotte? Well, no, that was Pat's idea. The other Pat number 2.
I don't know who actually came up with the idea. Then
I feel like it might have been Pat.
Yeah, that was like, Julia, you think you could call Jerry and see if they would let some refugees come join the race? And then, we kind of just started discussing it, and she pulled her magic.
We tried to figure out how, we had the house until Sunday morning, but if we wanted to go to the race, we're going to have to just kind of ditch out on the house. And then what do we want to do? And by this point also, and this is a beautiful thing too, the ultra running community, so many race directors had posted on the Yeti's page saying, we know your race is not happening. If you can get to this race, just come. Don't worry about entrance fees. Don't worry about anything. Just if you can make it to us, you're welcome here. Just come, which is really beautiful. And race directors are even saying that for the races that were this past weekend and the next weekend, and anything that you can salvage off of this training block. And I know some people have already signed up for for a plan B or a pivot plan, but we were like, we got these miles, we're ready to go now. So a bunch of us decided, I think we'll drive. It's about 3.5 hours, 4 hours, and we could salvage some miles out of the weekend. So that was the plan we put in action then.
So Pat, you unfortunately didn't join us at Hinson Lake. What did you do instead?
So my buddy Brad and I decided that Hinson Lake sounded awesome, but it was just too far out of the way. It was farther south than where I live. It just added up to not working out. So what we did is we hopped in the car, left about 8 o'clock or so on Saturday morning and drove up 81, which is beautiful, right? By
Yes.
then the skies were clear. There was no wrecks.
Yeah.
When Chris and Brad were coming down the day before, there were really bad wrecks on 81, like engines separated from cars that Chris was sending me pictures of. So,
Wow.
by Saturday morning, you're driving up 81, you would have never known what happened the day before. So we drove up and hit the AT at a place. We actually found this from a site on the Happy Trails Running Club site where they post different routes. It's called the Priest in Three Ridges, and we did the Priest, which is a 4-mile, 3,000-foot climb up, and you turn around and come down. Which I love doing that stuff. I'm not fast on it, but I love doing it. But I haven't been doing that training for Yeti, so
Right. No
I
need.
put out my poles and started cranking. Brad walked behind me like it wasn't hard at all, and we climbed up Priest, took a picture, and came back down. And then we did like 2.5 miles out and back on Three Ridges, and it was basically all on the AT. It ended up being about 14 miles with 4,500 feet or
Ooh,
so, and it was
nice.
cool. It was awesome. The river, I think it's the Thai River right there,
Thai.
was obviously full. There was guys kayaking down it, and they
Oh,
had
no way.
legit life jackets on, but they were having a blast.
Ooh, scary.
And I was sore for the next 8 days after that run because I wasn't used to doing that. Today is literally the first day that I felt normal
Oh
running
my
since
gosh.
a week ago Saturday, but it was
Not too
awesome.
shabby.
Mm.
Well, I'm glad you got to have an awesome experience up in the mountains. I mean, you did not see me doing that. Hiking is not my strong suit, so I probably would still
Oh
be
my
sore
gosh, girl,
if
you
it
live
were
by the
me.
whites.
I know. I never go
Let's
up there.
go.
I'm on the Mass border, so I'm like, that's a trek for me. It's like 2 hours away. But I mean, gorgeous up there, especially this time of year. We got the foliage kicking and it's pretty. But yeah, hiking, it's not my strong suit. I'll leave it to the pros like you guys.
Yeah, but I
But
want to hear
yeah,
more
so
about Hinson Lake because I know you guys put up some miles.
we did put up some miles. Yep. So that was an experience. So like Julie was saying, her and I got up at 3 o'clock Saturday morning and made the 3.5 4-ish hour drive. We had a couple of pit stops and some driver changes and we made it to the race. It started at 8 a.m. and we rolled up at 7:45. Somehow Brian beat us there.
Yeah.
When did you leave, Brian?
I left at about 3:45, but I just did a straight
Only
shot.
15 minutes.
So
Yeah.
We were like, when did he pass
You guys
us?
were super.
It must have been while we were at the sheep.
You were super quiet leaving. I didn't hear anything. I don't even know if Chris woke up.
Oh, good. I felt so bad that you guys were still asleep when we were leaving.
Yeah, and I didn't realize
Yeah.
he was sleeping I thought he was going to be on the couch, but he was sleeping on the floor. I'm like, oh, there's
Oh,
somebody
I
there.
think Brad slept in his car until you guys left, and then he came in and got in the bed.
Smart. That's the way. But yeah, so Charlotte and Pat headed down a little like right around that time too?
Yeah, we literally, as Brian was pulling out of the parking lot, we left right behind him. The other Pat was a little slow on the uptake. I thought we said 4 or 5. I'm like, no, we said.
Right.
But then we had to do a little detour because of I needed a costume, and I can't show up in a brumbalowing costume because that would not make any sense. So luckily, there's a story behind Hinson Lake and what they call the banana lap, and I'll let you girls and guys that stuck around for that tell the story. But Walmart in Rocking. Oh, actually, that afternoon, Friday, I found a Walmart in Abingdon that had a banana costume. Thank goodness it was Halloween. But Brian and I rushed over there, and they were closed because of no power. So then I got back, and on my phone, I was able to find the Rockingham Walmart had a banana costume. So I bought it and set it for a 7 a.m. pickup.
I still am so in awe that you did that. You were like, no, this is important. It's not worth it otherwise. It's happening. So yeah, everybody made it. We wound up we were able to secure a bib. Thank you to Jerry and his generosity. And if there's any way that we can donate to him, let us know, because I feel bad and I know we should. Dog
Let's
food, right?
donate to
They
the
do
Humane
dog.
Society that they sponsor for the race.
Yes.
I'll send out
Perfect.
the
Yep,
info for
that's a
that.
good idea. Yep. But one thing that I was really excited about for this race, not only was it going to be another state for me, because I'm trying to do all the states, and this was number 20. So North Carolina, check it off my list. Happy to come down again, but still.
In February.
In February for a very special 300th marathon or ultra. We'll work on that. But yeah, so we found out that this race, I knew with 24 hours, it was just a 24-hour ultra. There was no way I could personally get a buckle. There's no way. I cannot hit 100 miles in that time frame, at least at this point in my ultra journey. So we found out, though, that they were giving out medals if you did 100K. So I'm like, there's my goal. I got this. I got to take home some bling. So that was the overall goal of the whole weekend, was just get this buckle or get this medal and bring something home. So what did you guys have for goals? Why don't you start, Julia?
I was really disappointed that I wasn't going to be able to go for the 100-miler, and I need 30 hours to get 100 miles. And so now that we were at a 24-hour event, I knew I wouldn't be able to do that. And I thought, well, I have never been able to get 100K at Hinson, just because that wasn't the goal. And so I was like, maybe I can get my first Hinson Lake 100K. So that was my goal.
Brian?
Well, I mean, I think Julia mentioned earlier, we were kind of on our little like chat group talking about training, and I since I ran the London Marathon this spring, I literally did, I think, like one 10-mile run was the longest run I've done since then. So I was like, yeah, I should be able to finish the Yeti, but man, it's going to be painful.
So you knew you were in for a world of hurt, but
yeah.
you were ready for that world.
So then we get to Hinson, and I was like, all right, I don't think I'm trained up to do a 24-hour 100, but it was also my 50th marathon, so I wanted to make sure I brought home some bling. So
there you go. Congratulations.
It became a 100K mark for me, especially like getting up at 3:30, driving 4 hours by myself to get there, and then run 100 miles in less than 24 hours. I was like, no, I'm just gonna do 100K and go sleep in my truck, and then run the banana lap with you girls.
Charlotte, how about you?
I had lower expectations. Mostly because and it's funny because I never get to do Hinson. I've only been able to do it 1 year because it's always the same weekend as Yeti. So the 1 year that it was not happening, I did get my 100K there. I've got a pretty packed race schedule literally every weekend until January. So I decided to play it safe and play it smart. And all I needed to get was a 50K for some of my clubs that require you get a 50K in a timed race like that. So I was pretty mindset early on, happy with the 50K. And so that's what I got. And I'm like, then the other Pat who just decided he was just going to have fun and socialize. I'm like, okay, then I got to ride back to a nice place I can go sleep tonight.
Honestly, when I was in the middle of the night, I was like, damn, they had the right idea.
Yeah.
I was so tired at that point.
He hung out with friends, and then because we were riding together, and then I hit my 50K, and then I was because my car was back at his place in Raleigh from when we carpooled, so went back to Raleigh, got a nice night of sleep, and then did check on y'all throughout the night. I did wake up in a little time or two and check on the because I remember when y'all hit the 100K. I remember seeing that. So.
Oh, that was nice. Well, I was very happy to be able to share miles with all of you guys. So Charlotte, it was fun being with you just because everybody was like, banana, like every lap, just somebody with bananas and taking selfies with you. And Brian, you definitely helped me out so much. You had the way of doing the intervals. And even if it was just like run to that tree, walk 5 steps, run to that tree, walk this, like Mount Hinson, walk Mount Hinson, which was like not even a mountain whatsoever.
That is like 200
But
feet.
I know, right? But it helped me so much. I think I had 5 laps to do after you finished yours, and it took me 5 hours. It was just like, so I was glad you at least got me to that point and I could coast for the rest of this thing. But we met some really cool people out there. I mean, even Brumbelow came, so we got to see
Yep.
him, and he's just a boatload of fun too. So I really appreciate all of you guys making this crazy decision, because I was all for it. I was having an absolute blast. But we didn't even talk about what this really is. So Hinson Lake is a 24-hour ultra, and you are doing 1.5 mile loops around this beautiful little lake. So just over and over and over and over again. 42 laps for a 100K. Yeah, it got old after a little while, but like I said, we had fun.
Did you guys
And
have
Eric, what's up?
Did you have Chip? How are they keeping track of laps?
Oh, they had a timing system. Yeah,
Okay.
thank God.
Yep.
I would have been like, I definitely hit this. It's been like 4 hours. I'm at my 100K right now. But I had told Eric during one of our other episodes about the copperhead snakes and how they smelled like cucumbers, and that was it was a little creepy going through the woods, just like smelling these pockets of cucumber, but it was seriously so pleasant. It was, I'm still like, it's so odd to me, but it smelled so nice out there.
I kind of feel like you're attacking how I smell when I was running next to you by saying that. And finally we came up to Copperhead, so I didn't have to smell Brian.
Oh no, that was me. I'm sure it was me. If there's any weird smells, I was like, oh God. I was right by the end of that thing.
You got hot that day.
Oh my gosh, we did. So I have just this terrible thing where I'm like, oh, I don't need to do stuff to my feet because it's only 100K. Well, no, they were a fucking mess after this thing. They were covered in like heat rash again, and God, I took my gaiters off and my shoes, and somebody came over and she's like, do you need a medic? And I was like,
Oh,
no, I'm good. This happens all the times. But Julia, you got hit hard with the heat rash too.
I always do, but that's all right. My recovery is dialed in, and 24 hours later, it was good.
Right? Mine was too. I think I fared fairly well. It just didn't look great. So, Brian, how'd you fare from the whole ordeal?
I was actually pretty good. I don't know why, but similar like you said, I just my feet when I do nothing for them, and I just wear a wicking sock and I'm good to go. So it actually I was pretty surprised.
Oh, you lucky.
Say, yeah. How about you, Charlotte? Your 100K treat or your 50K treat you well?
I got a nice night of sleep. That was good. Had a nice lunch the next day. Thank you, Erica, for our brunch. Yeah.
My pleasure. Yeah. And Pat, you must have gotten a very nice night's sleep. Were you driving back home at that point? No, you were. When did you get home?
So Priest was halfway. It was about 3 hours from Damascus to Priest, and then it's about 3 miles home from there, or 3 hours home from there. So yeah, I was home on Saturday night hanging out.
Yeah, I hope you were drinking some of those awesome beers that you brought, because honestly, I think the one what was that square pants one you had?
Yeah,
squared something squared. It was delicious.
Yeah.
That might have been my favorite beer the whole weekend.
Not the mullet.
Two silos, Manassas, Virginia. If anybody's in the area, worth the stop.
Definitely.
Yeah, who brought the mullet? That one was good.
Yeah, that was Julia.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, we had our fair share of fun and beer, and we got our medals. Yeah. So we got something to show for this weekend.
No.
That weekend. And the banana lap. So I was like, there's no way you're gonna drag me out once I had finished my 100K. I was like, no, there's no way I'm gonna do a banana lap. But Julia, who was your friend who was going around, or do you know who that was who was going around trying to get people to do the lap?
I do know him. He's an RD up near Virginia Beach. But yeah, I was done. I was fine to not do the banana lap this year, but kudos to you guys that did it. So tell everyone what the
We
banana
have
lap
to explain to everybody what the banana lap is.
All right. Who wants to take it? Who can do a
Brian,
better
you
job?
do it.
Julia,
ran
you do it.
Okay. Well, the banana lap, so that they can get a partial lap credit for all the runners on your last lap or whatever you think your last lap will be. So for some people, they're picking up their last lap banana at, maybe 40 minutes or so. Your last lap, you get a banana and your bib number is written on it. And then when 8 o'clock hits, no matter where you are on the lap, you drop your banana on the ground, and then they come out with a walk wheel that measures it, and then they give everyone partial lap credit. So it's interesting because everyone knows about how many laps were done at 8 o'clock, but it takes about, I don't know, Charlotte, what do you think, like 5 or 6 hours until they compute and enter in what the partial laps were, and it'll change, several placings, bump 2 or 3 people. So that's the banana lap. And so at 8 a.m., when the race officially ends after 24 hours, the time clock keeper, he does an air horn, and it's so loud. So you can hear it no
Banana
matter where
horn.
you are on the course, around the lake, you can hear it. And then you just drop your banana. I said, you're supposed to throw your
Brian and I
banana as
have
far as you
dubbed it
can,
as-
right? And they said, no, you have to drop it right where you are.
Gotcha. Yeah, Brian and I have dubbed that the banana horn because we were so tired, and I was trying to take a video, and I was like, when he said the banana horn, it was just so funny at the moment that yeah, that stuck. So that's what it is, the banana horn for the banana lap. And yeah, so that man who went around was trying to get people to do it. He's like, all you have to do is just go on the other side of the aid station. And I was like, really, that's it? I think I can walk the 200 feet or whatever to get there. But he's like, yeah, we're going to go up to the top of that hill, across where there was a water crossing for the longest time. But
Yes.
he's like, oh, we're going to go up there. And I'm like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing that. So I literally grabbed my banana, went on the other side of the aid station. It was just waiting.
Like mic drop, banana drop.
Exactly. That was the best I could do. But what an interesting concept. I do actually like that because yes, that does switch up the rankings a lot. So you could move up and move down. So that's cool. I had a lot of fun, and I'm really, really glad that you guys decided to do that. I'm game to do it again. Well, as long as Yeti, you got Yeti. So
Yeah.
Yeah. And Charlotte can attest to this, I'm sure. Those two races are so different, but they're both so special. And there's a lot of people that are in both groups, and so many people that have done both of those races. And every year it's like, if we're going to be at Yeti, we're going to miss all the people that are doing Hinson this year. And if we're at Hinson this year, and a lot of people that I know from Yeti, for example, Michael Booth was going to be at Hinson this year, and you can't do both. And this year we got to see both crowds.
I think it was.
Oh, yeah,
So was it Jessica? Yeah, some
Lori
people will run because
McCracken.
Yeti starts on Friday, and if you run really fast Saturday, you can finish and then head on down to Hinson. At least get some laps in there. So some people have done both.
That's amazing. I would not be able to ever. I mean, if someone.
Yeah, me neither.
I'd get one. I'd be there in time for the banana lap.
That's probably what happens. But yeah.
Well, that is a very interesting way to end your Yeti weekend. I cannot imagine doing anything over that 100 miles, even walking up that driveway, to the house where we were staying. That seems like it's a mountain, but so much fun.
Takes a long time.
So a post race, we sadly had to say goodbye to our friend Brian. He had to drive home. Charlotte was already left, but I was going to see her again soon. And then Julie and I were just trying to make our way back towards halfway to Raleigh.
Yep. And bless Erica's heart, for as much as we talked on the way to Yeti, when I picked her up, we chatted a mile a minute. We got in the car and I put my seat down and reclined and fell asleep, and I was absolutely dead. And she woke me up when we got to the meeting place. She was like, wake up, here's Charlotte, goodbye. I did not say
that
a
was
word.
probably the iffiest drive I've ever had. It was foggy out that morning.
It was foggy.
so weird. And I was trying to drive. I had maybe 20 minutes of sleep, if that. I found somebody's random chair. Somebody had like one of those anti-gravity chairs. I'd slept in somebody's chair because nobody was sitting in it. So it was like, I'm just going to sit here because Pat's friends had to leave. They left at like 5 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, well, I need to sit somewhere, and I just found a chair. So I got like 20 minutes of sleep. I was trying to move our stuff because I didn't want Julia to have to walk all the way up there if she didn't have to. So
I took so much longer to do the 63 miles than she did. So she was getting busy doing stuff. Thank you so much.
It's trying to be helpful. But yeah, the drive over was a little touch and go.
Sorry, you should have woken me up.
I'm awake. No, I was not. You were walking that whole time. I needed you to just get some rest because you had some more driving to do on the other side. But
after you guys left me at we said goodbye, and I got back in my car, and I knew I needed to sleep more. So I put the driver's seat back, and I slept. And I woke up later. I think it was like 2.5 hours that I was just there in the parking lot.
Good for you.
I couldn't believe I had when you wake up and you have no idea how long time it's been. It was like 11:30 or something.
We were cracking our first beers, weren't we? By then, Erica.
Pretty much, yeah. We went to the famous O'Malley's. Is that the correct name? Okay, yeah. We went to O'Malley's.
Pat Hartzell loves that place. That's great.
Mm-hmm. It was an experience. We had a lot of fun. But yeah, I had gone back to Pat's house, and I was able to take a shower, and I had to repack my bag because the night before we just threw all the shit in there, and I had no idea what was where, and I had to just repack it so I could get on a plane. And we went to lunch, had a great time, had a couple beers, and I think by the time I got home, I was awake for like 44 hours. I think that's my new record.
Oh,
wait, why didn't you sleep on the plane?
You just want me to talk about this. All right, so I did have this thing, and I have shared it with friends. I have like an irrational fear of farting on airplanes, like in enclosed spaces, and this goes for reach the beach vans, cars in general. Like I just cannot sleep while moving because you know when you fall asleep and then you just kind of jerk awake. That's when a fart's gonna slip out. I do not want to be that guy, you know. So I feel like I might have dozed off on my first flight, but then I got a smash burger at my layover, and I was good to go. And then the minute I get in the car with Brandon, I was like, okay, get me to bed. Like I am dead on my feet. Whirlwind weekend, you guys. Absolutely nonstop fun, drinks, friends.
Yes. Let's do it again next year.
It's on my calendar.
Yeah.
Odd numbered year. We should be safe, right?
Yep.
Let's get Julia to the whole thing.
No.
The OG course.
It sounds like I keep DNFing. I finished each time. It just wasn't on the course there.
Mm-hmm. But who can we expect next year? Is anybody else going to commit to it? How about you, Pat?
TBD, maybe. I had a great time.
He's like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Sally Sawyer.
I kind of want you there, Pat.
Sally Sawyer, because she'll be there. If I'm there and she's there, we're gonna have some weather though.
If it's as long as it stays a Western qualifier, I'll do it. Right, that's really the goal, is to check that box each year. So hopefully they can make sure that's good, and we'll roll.
How many lottery tickets do you have for Western States?
So I only have 4, but I did OD last year thinking it was a Western State qualifier, and then I went to sign up for my ticket, and it had fallen off the list. And then we get to this year, and it's like, all right, let's get one this year. Yeti, nope.
Oh no!
So but then it gets better. I signed up for Tunnel Hill, right? You got on the porch. I signed up right then.
Yeah.
My wife gave me the green light. When I don't even know where it was. I just knew it was similar to Yeti, and it was Western qualifier.
It doesn't even matter.
So since then I read the details. It's in the middle of nowhere. It is flat.
That was a great race.
It is.
You'll love it.
It's also not a Western qualifier for this year. It's the first window for next year. It misses it by a week. So I'm still not going to get.
That's right.
Still not going to get a 25.
It's too close.
Yeah, it crosses over that. Yeah, because the other year in 2021. Yeah. That's all right.
I was so pissed when I figured that out about a week later, but
I'm sorry,
we'll get
Pat.
there. We'll get there sooner or later.
Well, I'll cross my fingers for you because so now you guys are all part of the pod fam, which is awesome. But we last year had somebody from the pod fam run Western States. Her name is Michaela Shremshock. So if
Cool.
it's any luck, we're gonna put all of our energy into you and get you chosen because I don't want it.
Let's go. Quick fun fact: Tara Dower, they just at the FKT on Apple
Yeah.
X Trail. She did Devil Dog 2 years ago,
No
and
way.
and she's from Virginia Beach.
Very cool. Got to get her back at your race. She'll be like the
Yeah.
attraction. Get to go meet Tara. But why don't we just go around and we'll give like a closing thoughts kind of thing. Like you guys can share your Instagram if you want, or just say, I don't know, you can say whatever the hell you want. So Pat, why don't you go ahead and give your closing thoughts?
Oh, yeah, it was a wild year. Definitely check out Devil Dog Ultras first weekend of December if you're looking for a 100-miler, 100K, 50K, or West Virginia Trail Fest, Snowshoe, West Virginia, May 9th and 10th. It's year 2 out there. Party at the top once you crawl up a black diamond at the end of the race. So check it out if you're interested. wvtrailfest.com.
All right, Charlotte, closing thoughts.
You can't beat a Yeti race weekend. I mean, even if the race didn't happen, it was still a Yeti race weekend. And just to brag about the Yetis, like Erica mentioned, immediately when the race got canceled, Jason donated $3,000 worth of unused aid station food. He gave $1,500 out of, I guess, race funds. And then we pulled together and we raised within about 48 hours, $20,000. And again, that just, it has nothing to do with, it's just all the fact that we love that community and they take us in as runners several times throughout the year. So you just can't beat a Yeti race weekend. And then when you go with such a good group of friends like we did, that's what made, the weekend tolerable. Natural disaster going on, race gets canceled, most people would just stomp their feet and cry, but it was okay because I was with friends and we made the best of it. We had a good time. We were sad for what was going on, but it was a fun weekend. Yes. So if anybody wants to see my costume antics,
And you do.
My Instagram is Marathon Costume Chick, CHIC.
And you will not be disappointed when you go visit her page. It's so much fun.
I released the one from that I showed y'all up there. I released that on Friday, and I'm like,
my only
that was just part one.
So much.
I got part 2 coming out soon.
Yes. Well, looking forward to that. But now we got to get to Julie, JJ, Julia Gulia. Would you like to give some closing remarks?
Charlotte put it very well, what the Yetis are and what they do and how much they love and how big they love, how wide they love and how they take care of everybody and look after their own and everybody is a Yeti that wants to be one. So it's just so sweet to be there. And it was sad that the Yeti time didn't get realized this year or that we didn't have everybody there or not everybody was able to make it there. But it's so much more important that everybody is okay and hopefully people in the area are okay. And the relief efforts are so important. So it's such a beautiful place up there and it's near and dear to so many of our hearts. So hopefully everything will be safe and okay there and we'll get back to something that is more normal for that place. The pictures of the trestles are unbelievable that are coming out. It's really sad. But I don't know, in the spirit of ultra running, we were able to pivot and keep going and control your controllables and what could we do with what was given us and how much fun could we still have? And we still had a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, Brian, how about you? Closing remarks.
Well, I mean, I think my plan of not training for a 100-miler worked out well this time.
A lot less pain, right?
I was a lot less disappointed than some people because I didn't go through any of the suffering to get to that point. But It was great going down to Hinson Lake. So proud of Julia. Just I just the way you went out there, and just going up next year for a little bit. And I was like, so what are you thinking? Like, are you gonna do like a 50? She's like, no, I'm doing 100K. I don't care how long it's taking me. I'm getting that medal. She's wearing it right now.
She did. She earned
Um,
it.
and she didn't take the easy way out of being a barnacle of like a certain podcast host, right? That's on here right now,
But I was the best barnacle. I was the best.
but it was
Forgot about
really
that.
great. It's been a long time since I did a race, and people were like, Brian, like, what is your pacing method for this? Like, what is your run walk for this? And I was like, I don't know. I just kind of look at stuff on the trail and decide what I want to run to. And everyone's like, this is the best idea. We're just gonna follow you for like laps and laps and laps. And it was a lot of fun. So it was
It
great
was a
meeting
great
everybody.
strategy. Oh, great meeting you too. Had a blast. Honestly, the second you stopped running, I forgot every single landmark. I think I wound up running like I was like, oh, here's like a little bridge thing. I would run that. And then I would walk until I hit another little bridge. But I figured it out on the second half. But I just want to say I'm so appreciative to know you guys. I think you're absolutely awesome. I don't have a beer to cheers right now, but I have to say thank you for staying up late with me, for trying to debunk this whole weekend. It was an absolute blast, minus the not so blasty parts. And I just have to say cheers to friends who have become family, and to the Yetis who are as amazing as they always were. I don't know what else to say.
And sign up for West Virginia Trail Fest.
Boom. Thank you guys so much for coming on and helping me with this. I think you guys are so awesome. Oh, here's to next year, right?
Yes.
For the most part.
Woo. Yes.
I'm in.
All right. Awesome. So
Hi, guys.
thank you guys once again for joining me on this recap of the Yeti that wasn't, but hopefully next year all will be well.
3, 2, 1, yeah!
Thank you guys so much for sticking around with us like always. You guys are the best. You know we love you. And don't forget to stretch.